Welcome to France News. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of December 2022. A disabled woman in a wheelchair was raped in a park by an African migrant who claimed to be a minor and was staying in a local center. The alleged acts were committed on November 12, 2022 in a park in La Pommeraye, in the west of the department. The suspect, a young migrant living in a center in the town, was quickly arrested. He was charged with rape of a vulnerable person and placed in a pre-trial detention. The investigation quickly identified the two people who were in the park with the complainant. There were two men staying at the CPAR, Centre de Préparation Retour Volontaire, in La Pommeraye. According to our information, they were received there after having been expelled from migrant camps located in the north and in the Paris region. They were not part of the center's initial approach, namely voluntarily return to their country of origin. Beyond the legal proceedings, the defendant cannot, as it stands, be subject to deportation proceedings. Such a procedure could be initiated if the Paris court provides proof of his majority and if a possible asylum application is rejected. Paris. Raped in the emergency room, Isabelle, 34, filed a complaint against the Cochin Hospital. The identified suspect is a Jordanian migrant with 3 obligations to leave the French territory and known under 13 identities. According to our information, the suspect was subject to 3 obligations to leave French territory under 3 different identities. An asylum application had been pending since September, so he could not be deported, the source said. The victim had been hospitalized after feeling unwell after leaving a Parisian bar. Unconscious on her hospital bed, she was raped by a man who had spotted her before her admission. She filed a complaint against the Cochin Hospital. The investigation revealed that the suspect had spotted Isabelle as soon as she was admitted to the bar. According to the witnesses, this man was prowling around the young woman on the ground, looking at her insistently like a starving man, testified the owner of the establishment, who had asked one of his security guards to keep the man away. However, 1 hour later, it is the same place that the suspect simulates an ethetic coma of the cinema, according to the witness. Called on the spot, the firemen take care of him and also lead him to the hospital Cochin. Claiming to be unable to walk, he was taken in a wheelchair by a nurse to a room in the same corridor as Isabelle. As soon as the nurse left, the suspect left his room and went from cubicle to cubicle before being intercepted by a nurse who took him back to his room. But a few minutes later, he goes out again and joins the box where the victim was, as the recording of the surveillance camera of the hospital proved it. A behavior which lets suppose to the investigator a premeditated gesture of this man. Placed in custody, the suspect denied the accusation of rape. He was nevertheless put under investigation and placed in provisional detention. The test performed on him in custody revealed that he was not under the influence of alcohol, but that he was positive for cannabis and cocaine. Never convicted by the justice system, this undocumented man claims to be a Jordanian and 22 years old. He is already known to the police under 13 different identities after having been arrested several times for theft, receiving stolen goods, drug use, according to information collected by RMC. He was also suspected of rape of a minor in Seine-et-Marne in 2020, but the case was eventually dismissed, the prosecutor of Mo told RMC. Arrived in France illegally in 2019, according to his statement, this young man has already been the subject of 2 orders to leave the French territory, the last of which dates back to the last July. These 2 OQTF were issued under different identities, which probably explain why they did not lead to the deportation of the suspect. When questioned by RMC on this point, the Paris Police Prefecture did not respond. Saint-Ouen. Dealers offers €20 per day to illegal immigrants to protect their dealing points and attack the police. Recently, many drug dealers in Saint-Ouen, Seine-Saint-Denis, have decided to hire undocumented migrants to attack police officers who would try to enter their city, a technique intended to allow them to sell their merchandise. This is the new strategy used by drug dealers to protect their traffic. Pay €200 a day to young, undocumented workers to attack police officers. Last November 28th, in the Arago housing estate in Saint-Ouen, Seine-Saint-Denis, a crew was fired upon by numerous mortars. The suspect, who was in the country illegally, was quickly arrested and told the police that he was 16 years old, for which he was released 24 hours later. But the same evening, the teenager had reoffended after having targeted another crew. We risk our lives when we return to a point of deal. For Jean-Christophe Couvi, National Secretary of the SGP Police Unit, the operation of drug traffickers has completely changed. Before, when we arrived somewhere, it was a bit of a flight of sparrows. Now things have changed, and we feel that it will end up in end-to-end, that we risk our lives when we enter a point of deal. To the microphone of CNews, the policeman also said he was worried for the police force because, according to him, psychologically, it is difficult to hold on because every day we go to war. Strong words to describe this new method, which was still unknown to the police force. Chelles. A 17-year-old teenager was attacked with an axe in front of his high school by 4 individuals. A high school student was attacked with an axe this afternoon in front of the Louis Lumière High School in Chelles by 4 individuals. One person was arrested. The 17-year-old student was beaten with an axe this afternoon in front of the Louis Lumière High School in Chelles by 4 individuals. They also used tear gas canisters. The municipal and national police have arrested one of the 4 attackers, according to a judicial source at the Meaux prosecutor office. The victim, whose life is not in danger, has been transferred to a hospital in Seine-et-Marne. City of Cannes. The Church of Saint Joseph broken into and desecrated. During the night of November 21st to 22nd, the Church of Saint Joseph in Cannes was broken into and the interior ransacked. The tabernacle was broken into and the consecrated hosts were spilled on the ground. Built in 1920, on the 8th of Cannes, northwest of the city center, the church was completely renovated in 2016. The Diocese of Nice communicates, following the intrusion, gratuitous vandalism and violation of the tabernacle of the Church of Saint Joseph during the night of November 21st to 22nd, the Diocese of Nice expresses its indignation. This is a desecration of the Blessed Sacrament. For Catholics, consecrated hosts are the real presence of Christ. This act deeply wounds every baptized person and requires a public reparation to God. Bishop Note of Nice will preside at a Mass of reparation on Friday, December the 2nd at 6 p.m. in the Church of Saint Joseph. We assure the faithful and the priest of the parish of Saint Nicolas and all those who have been hurt by this desecration of our prayers, say the Diocese of Nice.